Most new Airbnb hosts think that managing the cleaning at their property is just a case of finding a cleaner and letting them deal with it. But the truth is, the cleaning inside of your Airbnb business is probably the most important operation there is, because it not only affects your guest experience, but it also affects your reviews, your profitability, and how systemized or chaotic your business feels as well. And if you don't get this right, your business can literally fail just off the back of it. So in this video, I wanted to break down how the cleaning works inside of an Airbnb business, how you can manage it and systemize all the processes so you can stay on top of this critical part of the business from day one. So firstly, what I need you to really understand is why the cleaning is so important. If you think about it right, when a guest books your property and they walk through the front door, the first thing they notice is going to be the cleanliness and the smell of the property. It's all about making a good first impression. You only get a couple of minutes to kind of set the tone off for the whole rest of their stay. And what you'll find is that guests often mention the cleanliness in their reviews. Whether that's good or that's bad, these things often pop up. So if you were to have a negative complaint about cleanliness, not only could it potentially lead to a refund request, but it could also go down as a negative review on your listing. And that's what you don't want, because when guests are making their buying decisions about what property they're going to book, one of the biggest things they look at is obviously the reviews. So a few bad reviews on your listing could potentially put off hundreds of other people from booking your property. And less bookings means less revenue and less money in your pocket at the end of the month. Another reason why cleaning is so important is because it enables you to fulfill more bookings. And specifically, I'm talking about same-day turnaround. You could have a guest checking out in the morning, and a few hours later, you could have another guest checking in the afternoon. So that way you can stack up back-to-back bookings. But if you don't have a good cleaning system in place, then you'll have to block your calendar, wait for the property to get cleaned the next day before you then accept your next booking. So what does a proper Airbnb clean actually include? Because it's not just a case of wiping surfaces, there are a few components that sort of make this up. So the first one is the actual cleaning that most people will be aware of. So that's obviously things like mopping the floors, cleaning the bathrooms, the bedrooms, wiping down surfaces, dusting, that kind of stuff. And this is where the bulk of the cleaner's time will be spent at the changeover. The second component is the presentation. So this is the presentation of the beds. How have you dressed them? Have the beds been made in the way you want? Have the towels been rolled and laid out neatly? Is the sofa laid out properly with the cushions and the throws? It's so important that the property is presented well in the way that you want it for your next guest, so the property actually matches the photos when they arrive. Then the third thing is restocking all the amenities. So that's everything from literally teas, coffees and sugars, even giving them more toilet roll, shampoo, shower gel, anything that needs replacing. This is where it gets done, because the last thing you want is a guest checking into the property and there's only a quarter of the bottle left on the shampoo or something like that. It's not going to look very professional. So the cleaner will go through the whole property, replenish anything that needs topping up, so the guests have everything that they expect to be there. Then the fourth part is damage and maintenance checks. Your cleaner is basically the eyes on the ground. The idea is that you don't want to have to go back to your property in between changeovers. You want to be able to manage your Airbnb business remotely. So your cleaner will inspect everything from literally like heating issues, drainage issues, look for little leaks, make sure the batteries aren't missing from the TV remote, and just ensuring that nothing is broken or stolen. And if there is anything that needs flagging to us, at least we've got enough time to then correct the issue before the next guest arrives. And that's why it's such a vital part of the cleaning process that your cleaner checks all of these things, because you don't want your guests being the first person to discover that the TV batteries have gone missing, or the Wi-Fi is not working, or there's some sort of issue at the property. And then the fifth component is some sort of evidence. Whether that's in the form of photos or a video, you just want to make sure that you can see the property has been cleaned and what the finished product looks like. So that way you know it's ready for your next set of guests. And if the next guest was to complain about cleanliness, at least you've got some sort of evidence to back your case if you do want to fight it. So those are the 5 components that make up a proper Airbnb clean. And as you can see, the cleaner's job is not just cleaning. They're literally the eyes and the boots on the ground inside the property. So it's so important that you get this process right. And the easiest way to do that is by the use of a checklist. It's not a vague one of clean the property. It's a real checklist, step by step, of everything that needs to be done. Starting from literally the bedrooms, fluffing the pillows, checking inside the fridge or microwave for any leftover food, looking underneath the bed in case anyone's left any items, all the way through to leaving the keys back in the lockbox. And the reason why the checklist matters is because cleaners are human. They can easily forget. So just having a checklist in place just ensures you have consistency at every single changeover. Particularly if your cleaners have multiple jobs or they've got multiple properties they clean for you, it's so easy to just forget a simple thing. Like we've had times where they forgot to look in the coffee machine to see some pods that needed taken out, just small things like that. But the next guest could potentially sort of complain if they were to check in and find anything that should have been dealt with. So your checklist gives you consistency, and that consistency is what helps you to protect and improve your reviews. So now let's talk about the automation. How do you give the cleaner the checklist for them to complete, and how do you ensure that you update them about their cleaning schedule for the week? So the way in which you can do this is through your property management system, your PMS. So this is the booking system that's going to link all of your bookings together onto one calendar. You can also add your cleaner into this system so they can visibly see the calendar. They know what bookings are upcoming and they know what jobs they need to carry out. The system can also automatically assign them tasks every time there's a checkout. So within our PMS, what will happen is every time we get a new booking, the system will generate a task and assign it to the cleaner for them to do a new clean. And they'll get a notification about it, they'll get an email notification and a text message to say that we've got a new booking, the clean needs to be done on this date. When they open up that task, they'll be able to see the full checklist they can complete and they can go through that while they're at the property. And it also gives them the opportunity to upload any pictures or videos into the system as well. And the reason why this is so effective is because it just removes any human error. It's so easy for you to forget to update your cleaner about a clean. But with the system doing it, nothing's ever going to get missed. The goal is just to remove confusion and just ensure everything is organized. You don't necessarily have to use your PMS to manage all of your cleaning. There are some dedicated tools that are specifically designed for managing your cleaning system. But for me, I think it's the easiest to just manage it all inside this one system, because you know that way, as soon as your bookings come in, your cleaner will automatically be updated. And that's going to be paramount, especially if you want to be accepting same day turnarounds. If you've got a guest checking out at 11 a.m. and your next guest checking in at 3 p.m, you've got a 4-hour window to ensure the property is fully cleaned, it's been replenished, it's well presented for your next set of guests. So that's why it's important having a good system so you can give your cleaners enough notice ahead of time so they can be organized and get the job done. One of the next important parts of the cleaning process is actually going to be managing your linen and towels. And this is very much underestimated because it can be like super chaotic if it's not done correctly. So the way in which you can manage your linen and towels can actually be done in-house. This is only if you have a washing machine and a tumble dryer at the property. If you have both of those things, it means your cleaner can actually strip the beds, put a wash on and get everything dried before your next set of guests. That will usually save time and also some money on cost as well. But if you don't have a tumble dryer, then that is not going to be possible, because the last thing you want to do is put damp or wet linen onto the beds or potentially have it in some sort of storage cupboard where it's not fully dry and it's going to start smelling over time. If you don't have a washing machine and tumble dryer in-house, then you'll have to manage it elsewhere. So that could either be the cleaner taking it home, cleaning it at their own property, or you utilizing a local laundrette service or some sort of dry cleaners nearby where you can take the linen and towels to get washed. But regardless of which way around you want to manage it, you need to ensure you have enough sets of linen and towels. So I recommend having 3 sets for each bed. That way, just in case the clean is delayed or there was an issue with some guests, maybe a guest like completely stained a towel or something went missing, you're covered to sort of absorb any issues. You don't want to be in a position where a delayed wash means your next set of guests is effective. So just having 3 sets means you can eradicate that risk. You also need to manage how you're going to store all your spare linen and towels as well. In an ideal world, I recommend having some sort of a cupboard or storage space inside the property that you can lock away from guests, and that's where you can keep all of your spare items. So that way you always have 1 clean set in the cupboard, 1 currently on the beds, and maybe another set that's spare that you're either getting cleaned or it's just been cleaned and needs to be dropped back to the property. What you also need is some sort of quality control. Yes, your cleaner will provide you with pictures or videos of the property being cleaned, but it is always a good idea to do an in-person inspection periodically at the properties, whether that's monthly or even quarterly. At some point, you do want to go unannounced, go to the property and just check it for yourself. Because over time, cleaners can potentially become complacent or miss things over. If they've been cleaning your property for a long period of time, they might think they know it like the back of their hand and just skip over certain things. They might forget to look under the bed that one time. So this just gives you the opportunity to quality control, make sure the standards are being kept high and the standard that you want. And if there is anything on the inspection that you find that you're not happy with, you need to feed back to your cleaner to let them know that things need to change. Or equally, you can have a look at your guest reviews or comments from your previous guests. If there's anything they've made or any remarks about the cleanliness, this is a good opportunity to feed it back to your cleaner and also update your checklist to improve going forward. The goal isn't to micromanage your cleaner, but it's just to have a good standard set in place and ensure that they're following it every single time. So once you incorporate all of those things into a cleaning system, there's no reason why your cleaning won't run smoothly and your guests will start giving you positive reviews and feedback off the back of it as well. But before we go, I just want to make mention of a couple mistakes that I see a lot of new beginners make and how you can avoid them as well. So the first one is not having a backup cleaner. It's so important to have a backup. I know your cleaner might be super reliable, you might be working with a cleaning company that have a few people working there, but there could be that one chance where somebody falls ill or there's a family emergency, something like that. So it's always good to just have a backup there, just in case of any emergencies. And the second one, it might come as a surprise, but don't underpay your cleaners. When you underpay them, they're not going to be motivated to work hard enough. I know we're running a business, we want to save costs, but if you pay your cleaner what they sort of ask for, what they'd expect, they're going to work a lot harder for you, and they'll even go above and beyond in certain instances. Like we've had times where we had a guest who had like an anniversary, they wanted to make it a little bit special. We got the cleaner to get some flowers, leave out some chocolates. They went to the shop and bought it for us and didn't charge us anything extra. So I say it's really important to have a good working relationship with your cleaner. They're a really important part of your business. Look after them, keep them happy. And if they do a good job, they're gonna help you make more money in the long run. So that's how the cleaning works inside of an Airbnb business. It's not just about having a person with a mop. It's about having the right people with the right systems so the business can run without you in the middle of it. And if you are looking to get your Airbnb business off the ground, or you need some help building out your own cleaning systems, check out the link in the description where I can show you how I can help. But as always, I appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.